The napkin sat on the coffee table for 3 minutes before Muhammad Ali Jr. picked it up. White paper. Restaurant quality. Folded once. His father's handwriting in blue ink. Shaky, almost illegible. The Parkinson's making every letter a battle, but readable. Barely. Just enough. Junior stared at it. His hands were trembling. Not from fear. From something else. Something he'd been carrying for 43 years and didn't know how to put down. This was Arizona. 2014, his father's house. Living room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the desert. Expensive furniture. Quiet. Too quiet. Muhammad Ali, the greatest, the people's champion, the man the whole world loved, sat in a recliner 6 feet away. Silent. Still. His hands resting on the armrests. His face expressionless. The disease that had been stealing him piece by piece for 30 years had taken almost everything now. Almost. Junior had driven 4 hours to be here. Not because he wanted to. Because his sister had called. Had begged. He's asking for you. Please. Asking was generous. Ali couldn't ask anymore. Could barely speak. A few words sometimes. Mostly just sounds. Communication happened through gestures, through helpers, through the people who'd learned to translate silence. But he'd written something. On this napkin. With visible effort. With intention. And now Junior was holding it. Reading the words his father had managed to write. 0.7 words. That's all. 0.7 words that changed everything. Junior looked up. At his father. At the man who'd been everywhere except where Junior needed him. At the legend who'd forgotten to be a dad. Ali was watching him. Eyes still sharp despite everything else failing. Still present. Still there. Junior's voice cracked when he spoke. You mean this? Ali nodded. Slow. Deliberate. Yes. Junior looked back at the napkin. At the 7 words written in shaking blue ink. And for the first time in 43 years, Muhammad Ali Jr. cried in front of his father. Opens with a gap. The absence. The weight of lost time. We feel the distance before we see the bridge. Muhammad Ali Jr. hadn't seen his father in 15 years. Not at holidays. Not at birthdays. Not at graduations or weddings or any of the moments when fathers are supposed to be present. 15 years of silence. Of distance. Of living in the shadow of the world's most famous man while being invisible to him. Junior was 51 now. Lived in Chicago. Worked regular jobs. Struggled with money. Struggled with his name. Struggled with being Muhammad Ali's son, while having no relationship with Muhammad Ali. The last time they'd spoken was 1999. Some family thing. Awkward small talk. Ali's people hovering. Making sure the conversation stayed surface level. Making sure nothing real got said. Junior had left early. Told himself he was done. Done trying. Done hoping. Done waiting for a father who was never going to show up. 15 years. And now he was driving through Arizona desert at 6 a.m., heading to his father's house because his sister Layla had called and said, Dad wants to see you. Junior had almost said no. Almost hung up. Almost kept the boundary he'd built. But something in Layla's voice stopped him. Something urgent. Something that sounded like last chance. So here he was. 4 hours from Phoenix. 3 hours of driving left. And a knot in his stomach that had been there since he was 8 years old watching his father on TV, being everyone's hero except his. The desert was beautiful in the early light. Red rocks. Endless sky. The kind of landscape that made you feel small and significant at the same time. Junior had that feeling now. Small, because he was about to face the man who'd made him feel invisible his whole life. Significant, because maybe, finally, after 51 years, his father wanted to see him. Really see him. Not as an obligation. Not as a photo opportunity. Not as one of many children from multiple marriages. Just see him. Junior didn't know if that was possible. Didn't know if Ollie even remembered him clearly anymore. Parkinson's had been stealing his father for 3 decades. Taking his voice, his movement, his sharpness, but Layla said he'd asked. Said he'd been insistent. Said he'd written Junior's name on a piece of paper and kept pointing at it until someone called S.O. Junior drove. Towards something. Or away from something. He wasn't sure which. Maybe both. The GPS said 2 hours and 47 minutes remaining. Junior turned up the radio and tried not to think about what he'd say when he arrived or what his father might say back. If he could say anything at all. Why it works. Opens with Ali's perspective. Rare access to his internal world while Parkinson steals his voice. We see the father's regret before the son arrives. Muhammad Ali sat in his chair and waited for his son. The chair was leather. Expensive. Comfortable. He sat in it most days now. His body didn't cooperate the way it used to. The Parkinsons had turned simple movements into complicated negotiations, but his mind was still there. Trapped. Watching. Remembering, especially today, that he'd asked for Junior. Had fought through the fog and the tremors to write his son's name. Made sure someone called. Made sure someone arranged it. This needed to happen. Before it was too late. Before the disease took the rest. Before the window closed completely. Ali looked at his hands. They shook even at rest. Constant tremor. The price of being a fighter. The price of 3 decades of war with his own nervous system. These hands had done so much. Won championships. Signed autographs. Held babies. Thrown punches that changed history. But they'd never held Junior enough. Never been present when they should have been. Never prioritized the small moments over the big ones. Ali had been too busy being Muhammad Ali to be Junior's dad, too busy fighting Foreman and Frazier to attend Junior's Little League games, too busy traveling the world to help with homework, too busy being a symbol to be a father. And now Junior was 51, and Ali was 72, and the time they should have had was gone, spent on other things. Important things, maybe, world-changing things, but not this, not the thing that mattered most. Ali had 9 children, from 4 marriages. He loved them all, tried to love them all, but love without presence is just a word. And presence was the one thing Ali never gave enough of. He'd been everywhere except home, that everyone's hero except his kids. The doorbell would ring soon. Junior would arrive, and Ali would have one chance, maybe his last chance, to say what he should have said decades ago. But saying it was hard now. Speaking was hard. The words got stuck, got lost, came out wrong or not at all he'd written it. On a napkin, his hand shaking so badly it took 5 minutes to write 7 words. But he'd done it, and the napkin was on the coffee table. Waiting, Ali closed his eyes. Tried to remember Junior as a little boy. Curly hair, big eyes, looking up at him like he was magic. When had that look changed? When had it become something else? Disappointment? Resentment? Distance? Ali couldn't remember the exact moment, but he remembered the feeling, the slow realization that he'd lost his son not through death, but through absence. And now he was trying to get him back. .1 napkin. 7 words. One last chance. The doorbell rang. Ali's eyes opened. His son was here. Why it works. Opens from Layla's perspective. She's the bridge. Her desperation to connect them creates urgency and emotion. Layla Ali made the phone call at 6 a.m. Thought she'd been awake all night. Thinking, debating, knowing this needed to happen, but not sure if Junior would answer. He hadn't spoken to their father in 15 years. Had built walls, had reasons. Good reasons. Their father had been absent. Distant. More myth than man. More symbol than dad. Junior had carried that weight his whole life. Being Muhammad Ali's son without having Muhammad Ali as a father, Layla understood. She'd felt it too, but differently. She'd fought professionally. Had become a champion. Had channeled the absence into something. Had made peace with it, mostly, but Junior hadn't. Couldn't. The weight had bent him instead of sharpening him. And now their father was dying. Not today. Not tomorrow. But soon. The Parkinsons was winning. Had been winning for 30 years. And the end was visible now. Somewhere in the next few years. Maybe sooner. Layla had been visiting more. Spending time. Watching her father shrink into silence. Watching the greatest talker in boxing history lose his words. Yesterday, something changed. Her father had grabbed her hand. Urgent. Insistent. He gestured for paper and pen. Written something with trembling hands. Junior. Just that. His son's name. But the way he'd underlined it, 3 times with visible effort, told Layla everything. This wasn't casual. This was desperate. This was a man running out of time, trying to fix something before the window, closed forever, As Layla sat with her father and asked what he wanted to say to Junior. Ollie couldn't speak the words, but he'd written them on a napkin, 7 words that took him 5 minutes to complete. Layla had read them, had felt her throat tighten, had understood immediately why this mattered, why this couldn't wait. She'd promised her father she'd make it happen. She'd call Junior. She'd convince him to come. She'd bridge the gap that decades of absence had created. Now, at 6 a.m., she dialed Junior's number, praying he'd answer, praying he'd listen, praying he'd give their father one last chance. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Hello. Junior's voice. Groggy. Suspicious. Junior, it's Layla. Pause. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. But I need you to do something. Layla, it's 6 in the morning. Dad wants to see you. Silence. Long silence. Junior? You there? I'm here. His voice was different now. Guarded. Why? Because he's running out of time. And he has something to tell you. He can't even talk. He wrote it down. Another pause. What did he write? I can't tell you. He needs to give it to you. In person. Please, Junior. Please come. She heard him breathing. Thinking. Fighting with decades of resentment and a small hope he'd never fully killed. Finally. When? Today. Now. As soon as you can. Layla, please. For him. For you. For all of us. This is the last chance. More silence. Then, okay. I'm coming. Layla exhaled. Thank you. She hung up. Looked at her father. He was watching her. Waiting. She nodded. He's coming. Ollie closed his eyes. A single tear rolled down his cheek. Opens with Junior's journey. Physical distance mirrors emotional distance. The drive becomes meditation on their relationship. Muhammad Ali Jr. had 4 hours to decide what he'd say. 4 hours driving through Arizona desert. Phoenix to his father's house outside Scottsdale. Empty highway. Morning sun. Nothing but time and road and thoughts that he'd left at 6:30 a.m. Right after Layla's call. Didn't let himself think about it too much. Just got dressed. Got in the car. Started driving. That if he'd thought about it, he would have said no. Would have found excuses. Would have protected himself like he'd been protecting himself for 15 years. But Layla's voice had hit something. That urgency. That last chance energy to now Junior was driving. And thinking. And remembering. His earliest memory of his father. Watching him on TV. Junior was maybe 5 years old. His father was fighting someone. Junior couldn't remember who. But he remembered the feeling. Pride. Excitement. My dad is a superhero. That feeling didn't last long. Because superheroes on TV don't show up for dinner. Don't help with homework. Don't come to school plays or birthday parties or any of the small moments that build a childhood. That Junior's father was everywhere except where Junior was. And when he was there, those rare visits, those photo opportunities, those moments when Muhammad Ali played the role of father, it felt performative. Staged. Like Junior was meeting a celebrity. Not AD. As Junior got older, the resentment grew. Why didn't his father prioritize him? Why was everyone else more important? Why did the world get more of Muhammad Ali than his own son did? Junior had asked once. Directly. He was maybe 16. His father had visited. Junior had worked up the courage. Why aren't you around more? His father had looked at him. Seemed genuinely confused by the question. I'm changing the world, son. Fighting for something bigger. What about fighting for us? For me. His father hadn't answered. Had changed the subject. Had left the next day. That was the moment Junior understood. He would never be a priority. Would never be more important than the cause. The fame. The legacy. Junior stopped hoping. Stopped waiting. Built his own life. Made peace with having a ghost for a father. Or tried to. The truth was, it never stopped hurting. Never stopped leaving a hole. Never stopped making him wonder what he'd done wrong. Why he wasn't enough to make his father stay now. Junior was 51. His father was 72. Sick. Dying slowly. The Parkinson's taking everything piece by piece, and Layla had called. Said their father wanted to see him. Had something to tell him. Junior didn't know what to expect. Didn't know if there were words that could fix 43 years of absence. Didn't know if this was reconciliation or just another photo op, but he was driving. That had to mean something. The GPS said 1 hour and 15 minutes remaining. Junior turned off the radio, drove in silence, and tried to prepare for whatever came next. Why It Works opens with Ali's internal struggle. We see him trying to speak, failing, choosing to write. His effort becomes the emotion. Muhammad Ali had been trying to say it for 3 hours. The words were in his head. Clear, complete, perfect, but they wouldn't come out. His mouth wouldn't cooperate. His tongue felt thick. The Parkinson's had turned speaking into an impossible task. Most days he got a few words, short sentences, basic communication. But this, what he needed to say to Junior, this required more than he had as he'd tried writing. His hand shook so badly that the letters came out jagged, broken, almost illegible, but readable, just barely. Ali sat at his kitchen table. His helper, a kind woman named Grace who'd worked with him for 5 years, watched patiently. "You want to try again?" she asked. Ali shook his head. "No, this was it. This would have to be enough." He looked down at the napkin. At the 7 words he'd managed to write, 0.7 words that carried 43 years of regret, of missed opportunities, of presents he never gave, of love he never showed properly, 0.7 words that might be too late, but better late than never. Right? Ali wasn't sure anymore. Wasn't sure if apologies mattered after so much time. Wasn't sure if Junior would even believe them. Wasn't sure if words, even the right words, could bridge the canyon he'd created through absence. But he had to try, because time was running out. The disease was winning, and this was his last chance to be a father instead of just a legend. Grace put a hand on his shoulder. "He'll understand," she said quietly. Ali wanted to believe that, but he knew better. Knew that understanding and forgiving were different things. Knew that Junior had every right to read these words and walk away. But maybe, just maybe, 43 years of pain could end with 7 words of truth. Ali folded the napkin, set it on the coffee table in the living room, positioned it carefully, made sure it was visible, impossible to miss. Then he sat in his chair and waited for his son, for judgment, for mercy, for whatever came next. Why It Works opens with finality. Death is coming. This is explicitly the final opportunity. Creates immediate stakes and urgency. This was the last time. Everyone in the house knew it. Muhammad Ali's family, his helpers, his doctors, the people who'd been watching him decline for 30 years. This was the end of something. Maybe not the end of his life. Not yet, but the end of opportunities. The end of chances to fix things. The end of the window where reconciliation was still possible. Ali was 72. The Parkinson's had progressed. Speech was almost gone. Movement was minimal. His mind was still there, trapped in a body that barely responded. But even that was getting harder. The fog was coming. Slowly. Inevitably. If Junior didn't come today, he might never come. And the thing that needed to happen between father and son, the healing, the truth, the acknowledgement, would never happen. It would just be another regret. Another relationship left unresolved. Another wound that time would seal instead of heal. Layla had made the call that morning. Had convinced Junior to come. But even she wasn't sure what would happen when he arrived. Would Junior be open? Or would 43 years of resentment be too much to overcome? Would their father be able to communicate? Or would the disease steal this moment too? Would the words on the napkin be enough? Or would they be too little, too late? Nobody knew. But everyone hoped, because this was a last chance. And everyone, from Ali to his children to the helpers who'd watched this family from the inside, everyone wanted this to end differently than it was heading. They wanted reconciliation, wanted healing, wanted the great Muhammad Ali to be great in this way too. Not just in the ring, not just in his activism, but in his relationships, in his family, in the small, private ways that mattered more than championships. The doorbell rang at 11:17 a.m. Everyone in the house went still. This was it. Muhammad Ali's last chance to be the father he should have been. Muhammad Ali Jr.'s last chance to forgive the father who wasn't point one room. 2 men, a lifetime of absence between them, and 7 words on a napkin that might change everything. Or nothing.